So folks, I had no idea that this was creeping up on me, and I don't think anybody else did. So when it took me over, I got so sad that I wanted to end my life because the doctors told me that there was nothing that they could do for me. So I just want to say, when the doctors say that there's nothing that they can do for you, that's when you start doing for yourself, because there's a lot of opportunities out there that have not been taken because the doctors say, sorry, there's nothing we can do about this. So we want to pull out every stop we can, and that's why Everything ALS is here. And we're going to do the research with your help, and we're going to come up with care and cure for ALS. And one last thing. I spent most of my professional life working with hospice. So I was the director of Valley Hospice, and I worked there 18 years. And so I have a feeling that death is part of life, and we can discuss that a little bit later on. Thank you.
So McFinn, do you want to kick it off? Do we want
Sure.
to get introduction from the group? Because we know most of the people in the group, but yeah.
Okay, so now folks, let's just start at the top of the page here. Eileen, you want to unmute yourself? Does everybody know how to unmute your? Okay, let's just go across the top of the page. Welcome, Eileen.
Hi, I'm Eileen Dittmar, and I was diagnosed with ALS in January of 2019. I met McFinn and Derek, who's here as well, at the conference in October. And some of you I've seen in the Facebook group, and I'm just really delighted to be a part of this new organization and look forward to everything we do.
Beautiful. John, you want to unmute yourself?
Sure. Hi. Like Tori, I'm also a junior at the University of Southern California, and I'm pursuing pre-med right now. And I'm really just sort of looking to help any way I can, volunteer, learn a lot more about ALS, and hopefully make some friends along the way. And I had friends in high school. I haven't been directly affected by ALS, but I had friends in high school whose parents had ALS, and I always really looked up to my friends and what they were doing, and they cared for their parents, and I just hope to sort of get involved with that too. So, thank you.
Beautiful. James, you want to take your mute button off?
Hey everyone, my name is James, assuming there's no other Jameses in this group. I'm a current post-bac student at the University of Southern California as well, going down the pre-med route after graduating previously. Looking forward to learning more about ALS, the community, what's being done, what needs to be done, and essentially helping out any way I can.
Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, McFinn. Can't hear you. You're on mute. Okay, there.
McFinn, I think you may have skipped Austin Taylor. He's in the upper right next to John.
Gosh, my screen isn't, okay, I'm going to make my screen
Austin,
bigger.
you want to jump in?
Yeah, sure. I'm a freshman student at the University of Southern California studying pre-med. And one of our close family friends recently, like—
We can't hear you, Austin.
No, we can't.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So my mother's best friend and our close family friends, her husband just passed away from ALS.
Austin, I can't hear you. If anybody else can.
Yes, I can.
Yes, we can hear.
We can hear.
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear.
You're good, Austin.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm just really interested in learning more about ALS and getting more involved in medical research in general.
Beautiful. Okay, let's jump back up to Lily. Lily, you're on. There you got, Lily.
Hi guys. So like Austin, I'm a freshman at University of Southern California. So personally, I haven't been affected by ALS, but just hearing what all you guys have done, it's super inspiring, and I'm really excited to do what I can. Thanks.
Thank you. I think Did McFinn freeze?
Might have. Syed, you're next up.
Hey guys, how are you? I'm a senior at University of Southern California as well, and Tori kind of just got me on board. I'm blessed that none of my family was ever affected by ALS, but just hearing, you know, everything, it's very inspiring. I just want to be a part of whatever I can, especially because I'm applying to med school soon. So I just want to get another perspective on the whole deal.
Beautiful.
I think we've skipped Bill.
Yeah, Bill, you want to take yourself off mute? Almost.
Okay.
There you,
There we go.
you're good.
Okay. Bill Glaris is a biological dentist that was spent many, many years removing mercury fillings, etc., to help patients get well, and was diagnosed in 2017 with ALS. And we're here to be optimistic and positive and living the belief that anything is possible. And the Healing ALS conference that we attended was miraculous.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Syed?
I think Syed introduced himself.
Yeah, I already got a chance.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And my dear, it says 1+7 Pro for you. I don't have your name here. So I'm going to just go to, we'll come back to you. Danny?
Hello,
Fine day.
does everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. My name's Danny Getzlaff. I'm from Morinville, Alberta, Canada. I was diagnosed with ALS in November 2017. And back in the day, they said, today is going to be your best day. And from every day, it's going to get worse. Well, ever since October of 2019 from the Healing Conference, I've turned that around, that today will be my worst day and every day is going to get better. And I've progressed very little in the last 6 months by cleaning up a few loose ends of my diet and get rid of the toxicities in my life. There's still a long ways to go, but I didn't want to get sick changing everything over. And I'm very happy to be a part of the group and all open ears.
Thank you so much. Hanafa?
Yes.
Yeah. Help me pronounce your name.
Hanifa.
Hanifa. Okay, your turn. Welcome.
Well, I have vulva, so my speech is not that great. I live in Pennsylvania, and I was at the conference where I remember you and Dan, and I'm here to learn.
Beautiful. Thank
Thank
you. Derek, how are you today?
I'm doing well, McFinn. I met McFinn, Indu, and others here. Dan, good to see you at the conference. I spoke. Oh, by the way, I'm from Canada. Live about halfway in between Toronto and Montreal in the Thousand Islands area. Beautiful area. And looking back, I don't think I gave a lot of info as to what to do. Mind you, we all did different things, but the fact that I was diagnosed 22 years ago and got up on the stage, I think that hopefully motivated people there. And I kind of stumbled into the alternative world, so I guess I give credit to things I never knew about before to why I'm doing so well. And so hopefully I will learn more, and if I can share anything, hopefully I can do that too.
Beautiful. Thank you. Adam. Adam, you disappeared. Adam can't really speak, so we'll let that one go. Mark, you want to say a few words? Take your mute off. Mark? There you
Hey,
go.
guys.
Wait a minute.
Me
Wait a
or
minute.
Adam is
I
back.
hear Adam.
huh?
Let me go back to Adam, Mark. Adam, hello. We're just like you. We have team. We're glad you're on the team. All right. Thank you. Thank you for being here. We love you. Okay, let's go back down to Mark.
You were asking me to speak now? Yeah.
Yes, Mark.
Okay. I didn't know if there was
Tell us
another
about
part.
yourself.
Yeah. I'm from Lafayette, Louisiana, Cajun country. I got a chance to speak at the ALS conference through invitation by Patricia, and was blessed to actually chance to work with Danny. Danny and I got to work with each other, and was able to just demonstrate a little bit of perspective on mind body, and I'm here to be supportive and learn, and if I can contribute, that's what I'm here for.
Beautiful. Thank you. Seth, I don't think yet you can speak, but we're looking at you and we're smiling at you, brother. Peace.
And Seth usually chats with us, so.
All right.
Thanks, Seth.
So, Joan Lee, you want to take your mute off?
Oh, hello. I'm a freshman at the University of Southern California. I'm actually Austin's a good friend, and we both got recommended this program by our lab director for bio told us about this program, and we were just interested. So I have no connection to ALS whatsoever, but I think whatever help or knowledge I can get or give is good, good for both parties.
That's beautiful, because we're going to be asking you in the future to ask your friends to join in and help these patients out, because you're a very caring person. So thank you so much. Sabella. Hello, Sabella. You're on mute, dear.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Sabella. I'm a sophomore at the University of Southern California. I'm also pre-med. Also heard about this through my biology lab professor and got in contact with Tori. And I haven't been personally affected by ALS, but I have had relatives affected by other neurological diseases as well as terminal diseases. And I think being a pre-med, it's so important to learn how to advocate for patients and really understand what they're going through. So I'm really here to be a sponge and learn what I can and offer support in any way that I can.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Nicholas Wong, good afternoon. You want to take your mute off?
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm currently a sophomore at the University of Southern California as well. And I don't have any connection to ALS, but I did hear about it years ago through a social media challenge, the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. And having this email sent out to me, I just thought it was a great opportunity for me to learn about ALS in a more better and gain a better understanding of what patients go through and what better way I can to help in other ways other than donating money. And yeah, and I just am just really eager to learn more about the disease and spread it to my peers and in my community and just spread more information. So yeah.
Thank you. Carissa?
We're frozen. Everybody's frozen at the moment, except for me.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think we're frozen. So Clarissa? Yeah.
Hey, Indu.
Hello, Carissa.
This is Shobha here. Kavita looks like wants to speak. She's raising her hand.
Oh, okay. We'll get Kavita. Yeah. Hi, Kavita. You can go.
Can you hear me?
Now we can, yeah.
Yeah, namaste. I'm Kavita Shivkumar from India.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah. Uh, Sorry.
No,
So
that's
she
why
wrote,
we're here.
Kavita wrote to me last night, actually this morning. Her husband was just diagnosed with ALS. They've been going through diagnosis for a little over a year, and this is very familiar for us. He started his symptoms in December 2018. And it so happens that, you know, one of the volunteers who's working with us is Shobha, and she said, hey, I don't have anybody who is personally affected, but I want to help. And so Shobha introduced, this is her cousin. And she's calling in from India, even though it's very early in the morning for her. And she wants to learn as much as possible from all of us so she can actually help her husband. And that's why we're here, Kavita.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you, dear.
Yeah.
Tony, a fine day to you. Tony Fry. Can you hear us, Tony? No, we can't hear you, Tony.
Your volume is down.
Yeah, maybe the volume. Not yet. Not a perfect world.
We still can't hear you, Tony.
Nope. Okay, we'll come. Okay, I can see your mouth. Thank you. We love you. We'll come back. You're trying, I know. Okay. Got a big group here. Looking for the next next person, and that person. It looks almost like we have had everybody. Is there anybody who wasn't able to speak yet?
Hi.
No.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Juliet.
Hi.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm another freshman at the University of Southern California, and I'm a pre-med neuroscience major. I haven't been personally affected by ALS, but I have had a few family friends who've been affected by various neurodegenerative disorders. So I'm really interested in just learning more and being able to help however I can. And a lot of your guys' stories are really inspiring to me. So yeah, I'm just really interested in it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, because that's what's going to help us get through this. Is the younger the people are, the more time that they're going to have to spend on this. So thank you. Is there any, Tony, if you can hear me, we still haven't gotten your voice back there. Sorry about that. Okay. All right.
And
so is there anybody else?
Hi.
Everybody's, I hear a voice.
Hi, I'm Casey. My signal's really bad in my house, but can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, hi. So actually, Tori sent out an email the other day, I think just to my bio class. And so immediately when I saw that, I was super interested. So I'm actually a first-year student at USC studying neuroscience as well. In terms of being personally affected by ALS, I have not, but in high school, I did a lot of research on the brain, and I actually had the opportunity to do stem cell research for ALS. And by the end of the summer, my PI and just the institution allowed me to go to the ALS clinic. And through there, I was actually able to shadow doctors as well as 2 ALS patients who were in different stages. And for me, that was really eye-opening, because like I saw the whole view of like the whole translational research concept. and talking to either, because one of the patients couldn't really speak, but the family member could, and just hearing their story and the hope they had, I think that's really inspirational. And that's why like I'm super interested to do everything I can to improve this disease.
Thank you.
Thank you, Casey.
I think we have a few people without video. So any other ALS affected by ALS, please speak up. Introduce yourself.
Come aboard.
It looks like Aaron is one of them. Duke and Emily are all without the videos, if any of them want to speak.
You guys are on. Okay, Aaron.
Hello.
Emily. Oh, Aaron.
Oh, hi. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Erin. I'm a sophomore at the University of Southern California. I also learned about this through an email, but I've personally never had anyone in my family or known anyone affected by ALS, but we did have someone who was affected by ALS come and talk at my high school, and I think that kind of really like helped deepen my understanding of ALS because it isn't really something that I think the general public really knows about, or at least a lot of people my age. So I think that like being involved in this program is really gonna help me to like, you know, spread information to like people in my class. So thank you for inviting me here.
Thank you,
Hey,
dear.
Big Ben, I think I got some volume here.
Tony?
Is that Tony?
Yeah, it is.
All right, Tony, good afternoon. I mean, evening.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm sorry I have a little bit of technical difficulties here, but I'm really glad you put this group together. I can't tell you how excited I am to be part of this. I was diagnosed with ALS 2 years ago. In fact, March 27th was my 2-year anniversary. According to the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, I was supposed to expire by March 27th. So I have to tell you, I'm just enjoying every day of my new life right now. The holistic world has been a big help to me. I'm sure it'll be a help to everyone else in here. I really have to say, going to the conference in Salt Lake City was such a huge plus, and it's given me such a network of pals. It's been incredible. The support, the strength, this type of program, it's just unbelievable for all of us. I can't thank you enough. I'm currently in Miami right now, working on some gains here in Miami, which I'm hoping are going to help out. And just looking forward to finding the next step that we're all looking for. And I got to tell you, there is a life with ALS, as we all know.
Yes.
So thanks again, my friend. You're awesome, brother.
All right. Thank you, Tony. Clarissa, you were asking if, oh, okay, Clarissa, you're off mute. Talk to us.
Yeah, hi. Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm also a freshman at USC, and I'm also following the pre-med route. I haven't been affected by ALS directly, but I do have, like, I was diagnosed with a kidney disease, so I'm kind of, like, familiar with the medical field, and it's kind of been something that's always been a part of my life. And I think this will just help me, like, broaden my perspective of medicine and just learn more about ALS.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the young people that we need to help take this over. So it seems like everybody has spoken. Is there anybody
No,
on the
McFinn, you got
telephone?
one more.
Beautiful.
You got someone sleeping in the back. So I want to give a shout out to my fellow Trojans. I managed to graduate from USC 40 years ago. I don't have a personal family connection with it, but I got to know a whole bunch of people. So I want to give a shout out to Bill and Danny and Amy and Mark Denois and Derek and Tony and Indu from the conference. It's great to hear your voices again.
Beautiful. Thank you, Duke.
Thank you. Thank you, Duke.
Okay, folks. Anybody else on the telephone out there? Okay, well, then let me just say that this group, since we're just starting today, this is about a 30-minute, 45-minute time frame. But then after we're done with this, then we have another half an hour of free range talk of anybody who wants to bring up any kind of subject. Sometimes the subjects get very personal. And so, but I think that we're all old enough to get really personal. If anybody has any problems with anything that's being talked about, talk to us, because everything is pertaining to this illness and what people go through. So we're going to have a 30-minute open forum when we're finished with today's meeting. And we're going to have that each week. Well, we're going to send out a survey after today's meeting, and we're going to see how many people would like to have this be weekly or bi-weekly. And then we also are going to want you to come up with maybe 3 subjects that you would consider vital to your life that we could do some research on, and then we could be your advocate. So that's what's coming up today. And that's pretty much what we have. There's a priority list that we've come up with, and I'd just like to read a few things about it. The things that we're looking into is caregivers. Caregivers are one of the most important things that I found when I had my ALS. It was very hard to find a good caregiver who would stay, but they are definitely out there. And you medical students, we're really smiling at you, because you would be the perfect people to learn about the illness as you're learning to deal with the people who have it. So there's family support, financial support, your neurologists. You know, I went to 3 neurologists, and they really couldn't help me. So be sure to find some kind of doctor. Like mine was a naturopath, and he believed that something could change for me when the rest of the doctors didn't. So I was very depressed from my responses from the doctors, but not the naturopath. So we're working with research institutes. We're going to investigate your nutrition and your supplements, and the medical procedures like the feeding tube and the trach. Those kind of things are extremely serious. And if you're asked to get those, think twice, ask twice. I was asked to get a feeding tube, and I refused, and I never really needed it. So I was glad that I did refuse it. The other things like Medicare, disability comes on for people with ALS, because they think that you only have 3 or 5 years left in your life. So be sure financial help is extremely important. So if you are having any financial difficulties, discuss it with us, and let's see what maybe we could investigate for you. So spiritual guidance. You know, this coronavirus that's going on, a lot of people are passing away now. I think spiritual guidance is a very personal subject. And I think whatever kind of spirituality that you have now, I think it's a great pillow to go to sleep at night on. And I definitely say my prayers every night before I go to bed. I know that I'm only here for a short while, and where I'm going to go, I have lots of guesses, but we all have lots of guesses. So, so I want to just bring it to that point, and I want to say, I want to open this up to say, is there anything pressing for anybody at this very moment? I like quietness, but I just want to make sure.
And I'll jump in for a second on the research side, so we can just give them an Indu definitely is just to give you guys some of the perspective of some of the things we want to bring to you from this perspective is we're reaching out to all sorts of ALS researchers around the world, not just ALS researchers, but immunologists, virologists. Indu has made a massive amount of connections. She's also humble, but she is on the board for another ALS organization and is making massive contacts there. So there's a lot of things we want to help you do, whether it comes to finding genome sequencing for you, talking to you about the types of testing you can get your naturopath to do, because sometimes you find a naturopath and they've never treated an ALS patient. They don't understand some of the things to test, whether it's heavy metals or to do, fecal samples, or what you need to do with mold testing, some of the oxidative stress and mitochondrial testing. That's outside of the parameters of what most MDs do. And it's usually the naturopaths that have those resources. So what we want to do is we want to be the liaisons for you, right? We want to be kind of the hub. So if you come to us and you say, wow, I don't know what to do with a caregiver, we want to be able to provide you resources where you find caregivers. If you don't know what to do to get genome sequencing done, we want to provide you resources to do that. And Indu has led this. She was really humble when she introduced herself, but I have to tell you, this woman has made so many amazing connections. She's living her husband's legacy by reaching out to everybody in the research world and being such a huge advocate for everybody that has ALS. And I am so optimistic that all of these researchers are expressing such a passion to help you, to bring relief to your family, to help find answers to help you potentially reverse or to slow it or to make your life better now. And so, Indu can tell you about a lot more of those things, but for me, finding the passion of these researchers to actually get involved with us has been joyous. Actually, there's so many people that are surprised that we have a group of patients that want to coalesce and give them this database, give them this information that they can then take to help us. So that's our whole goal, is to be a liaison for you, whether it's spiritually, whether it's reversals, whether it's caregiving, anything you need, access to disability, Medicare. We want to be a hub that helps you find those resources you need. So Indu, I know you have a whole lot more to say about the research side of this too.
Well, thank you, Michelle. Thank you for the call out there. I think I was one of the organizers of Healing ALS, and I found McFinn because McFinn was doing his stuff, and through our connections. And I think what we saw in Healing ALS, like a lot of you people came over, is that there was a lot of interest. That was the first time ever in the history, we had ALS patients coming together, and we had such rich collaboration. And that was the first idea, was like, how do we actually develop a patient group and bring the research directly to the patient? So once I started talking to patient researchers and also clinicians like Merit Kutkovitz or Jeff Rothstein from Johns Hopkins, they're doing a lot of research, to pure researchers at Gladstone and different universities, they said they would love to work with patients directly. So I just feel like we're working as an island, walking through this ALS with my husband. What I realized was everybody's so in their own island. Researchers don't talk to the patients, clinicians, talk to patients a little bit. I mean, we're all like in our own, doing our own work. And there is, a lot of work that researchers want to do. They're good people. They want to find solution, but just our system is set up in such a way that everybody's in an island. So we put together this platform, and, as you saw, the people who introduced from EverythingALS, we spent a lot of time together to saying, how do we actually collaborate together? So some of the research that we're doing, I'm on the board of Answer ALS. We're actually bringing all the whole genome sequences for ALS patients, so we can have researchers really dive into what is happening at the gene level, at the iPSC, the cell level. That's one project, and we're working with Gladstone with helping them analyze this genetic, material from the ALS patients to see, what I see is in a lot of rare diseases, which has treatments, which is a lot less population than ALS. The difference between us, the ALS, and the other rare diseases, what I saw was a good advocacy, good patient group. So in ALS, I just feel like, we don't have a good, very good patient advocacy, patient group where the researchers can come to us and say, hey, look, I'm doing this and this and this, and I want this kind of people to participate in my research. So that's what we're trying to put together. If we all patients come together and we can actually be the liaison and work with the researchers and say, you want to study microbiome, no worries, what kind of patients do you need? We will get you, 50 or 100 patients who can actually work with you directly. So that's what we want to put together. And that's what one of the things that's missing is a good advocacy group or a good patient group. So yes, I'm working with a lot of other research, and a lot of it has been pulled. One of the other project that got kicked off by MIT and Mass General that contacted us is voice analysis. So they want to do voice analysis for ALS patients to see through the voice, we can actually not only figure out the progression, also we can do early diagnostics. As you know, before we got even diagnosed, it takes a lot of time. So if we actually had reduced the time, we could have actually done some treatments early on. So we want to do early diagnostic tools as well. And Google Euphonia Group is involved. So Google is working with us not only to come up with diagnostic tools, they also want to do a lifestyle improvement. So what can they do to help in your day-to-day life? So we're working with the Euphonia Group. And so there are some clinical drug companies like Retrotope. They're coming up with a drug that is for ALS. For the from the science perspective, it seems like it's for the lipid in the cell itself, and they're in the phase 3 trial, and they want to work with us directly so we can actually introduce them to the patients. And so that, of course, we have to go through clinical trials, but there might be some extended extended trials that they can actually engage with some patients. So we are working with a lot of these different entities. Our goal is to really marry those two so that we can be helping the patients. And as you heard, a lot of students are involved. So their interest is in to be involved in this research and the patients directly. So we as a community come together to solve this. I really think there is a way for us to solve this ALS. Otherwise, I just feel like we're going to go through another 150 years, and I don't want anybody else to have gone through what my husband went through or what I went through. That's my only goal is, I mean, a lot of the people here who talked before is we want to do this as a tribute for our loved ones. And, we don't want anybody to have gone through what our loved ones went through. It's really a tribute for our loved ones.
Hey, Indu, one thing I was going to ask you that they made.
So Adam is trying to say something.
I want to say something. Oh, well, I've had 4 years. I want to hear, will you do this, will you do that? I want to ask him now. I want to hear in my booklet. Okay? I've had. I want to know now. I want to hear it now. I'm 5 years. I have 5 years.
One of the things Indu, that I think might help a lot of the ALS patients is, I know a lot of the researchers talk to you about doing placebos and double-blind studies, and that's a real big topic. I know Adam probably feels real strongly about that. That's what you're just talking about, is that ALS patients don't have 12 years to wait like we've been going through with Neuron.
Exactly.
And so, Indu, share with everybody on the call what you told the researchers about placebo studies and double-blind studies.
So, when they talked to me, I said, I'm going to strongly advocate that the, patients should not enroll in your research. If you want to do double-blind studies and, you want to do this this way, I think we are strongly going to advocate patients not to go for this because it's not okay. And that's where Kim comes in. We don't want to just throw in problems, right? We want to go in with solution. And Kim, who is actually, her mom is affected by ALS. She spoke about it. And in cancer, that's what she does. She goes in and some of the research, they don't have to do double blind study. They don't even do phase 3 in a lot of cases. They, you know, in the cancer, when it's especially for kids, there's a lot of leeway, because if it's going to give 3 or 4 years of life, they have a lot of leeway to actually go take an experimental drug and kind of try it out. So we're trying to not only give them, no, you shouldn't be doing it. Here are some of the templates you can actually use that works for cancer. Why don't you go back to FDA with this kind of template? So we are working with some of the, you know, drug companies who are actually working with us, and they were very, very interested in actually taking that template and revisiting that idea. So we're trying to challenge these norms that's been done. We're trying to, you know, like I said, it's just not challenging in terms of we don't want it. Of course we want it. We want them to work on ALS, but at the same time, we're challenging them with the solution to say, here, these are the things that you can actually do. Go back and challenge the FDA to actually fit into one of these templates.
Thank you.
Yep, McFinn, this is Kim. McFinn, this is Kim. Let me jump in for just a quick second. So just to piggyback on what Indu said, I mean, we've made a lot of advances in oncology using novel designs. And I think that if we can bring some of that knowledge and expertise into the ALS area, I do think we can expedite some of the promising drugs moving forward. And so Indu's really been a pioneer in starting those discussions. And so I think we're going to see a lot of momentum in this particular area, just having multiple collaborations in different disease areas. It's going to be very exciting.
And I have been surprised about how many companies actually are in phase 2 or phase 3 drugs trials for ALS, and I've never heard of them. And but we just have to expedite them, because, you know, it takes 4 years if they have to go through. And also it's very expensive, because they're in the fundraising, because they have to raise $50–60 million if they have to do their phase 3 trials. So we're kind of, you know, challenging their thoughts. Like I said, it's not my company. I don't have, you know, these are the things we're trying to do is, as a patient advocates, if we can all work together, I think there is power in the force. There is power together. And that's kind of what we're trying to do, is help them with, you know, expediting some of the research, and also helping them with some technology innovations as well.
Beautiful.
On those
I want to introduce.
Sorry, McFinn. I just wanted to mention one last thing on those technology innovations. One of the other things we want to do for people like McFinn and Derek that have had such amazing transformations, right? Reversals or significant slowing. We want to help build a patient database for you guys. So if you had bulbar onset and you have a particular gene mutation, you can try to find somebody that has had a reversal or has had slowing, and see what worked for them, what didn't work for them. If you have, you know, the sporadic form where you got it from exposure to maybe pesticides or concussions or, you know, blue-green algae, whatever it was, we want to try to mirror yours, creating, Peter can speak to this too, your twin, right? And let you have a database that becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, so that the people that are having success with different holistic options, with different drugs, with different physical therapy, that you can learn from them. We started to do that a little bit on some of the Facebook groups like ALS Naturally and Whole Body Healing, but we want to make it more scientific for you. So instead of just saying, oh, Derek used this, so it must work for everybody. We know there's so many different manifestations of ALS that we want to give you guys options to tailor your choices towards the people who have the type of onset and the type of ALS that you are experiencing. So that's one of the big missions that we're going to be tackling this year too.
Thank you.
Great, Michelle. Hey, we have a gentleman in here, and he'd love to be introduced because he's our brother. And Seth Christensen was diagnosed with ALS 10 years ago at age 35. He lives in Utah. He has 4 children. And he's really glad to be here with us. So welcome, Seth. Glad you're here with us. Okay, folks, this has been a lot of information, we are going to be sending out a survey to see if, well, to collect your thoughts about hopefully 3 things that you would like to discuss. And we want to find out if you'd like to have this meeting each week or each other week. So after this meeting today, we're going to send you a little survey. I hope you don't mind filling them out because they're very helpful to us. And then we'll get back to you and we'll let you know what the what our club has decided, weekly or bi-weekly. Is there anything that someone else would like to contribute?
I just want to say, pardon me, I just want to say I'm really impressed by the number of students from USC that are involved. Thank you. And I will throw in, I'm a Trojan as well, but again, not quite Trojan. I've coached basketball there for 31 years now. So that's kind of cool too. I do have one request. I know a number of you are probably going into neurosciences. All I ask is please think outside the box. Thank you.
And Derek, well said, because that's one of the reasons why we thought students have to be involved, because we want to have students have this experience with patients, because usually they go through the program never talking to patients, and even when they volunteer, they never come across, patients, and especially ALS. So this was, once we discussed with Tori, and Tori was really leading this effort, she was able to get USC students involved, and this is just a beginning, and we know we want to bring in thousands and thousands of students, and Google has agreed to sponsor the student recruitment, and because they're very interested in helping ALS patients and bringing students into helping ALS patients as well. So as we're doing research, some of the research we're kicking off, for example, Voice Project, and we want the ALS patients to actually record the voice, we will pair them up with students. So the students will become their personal, personal guide to help them with this research or anything that the patient wants. So we really want to have this very close relationship with patients and students, and that's what the students are looking for.
Great. There's a great force out there with all of you students. You're the future and we're your experiment. So please come and experiment with us and solve this, and you'll be a hero. Thank you.
And I just want to say a really quick thing. It's kind of reiterating some of what Indu said, but there's power in numbers. And if you guys hear of others who have ALS or who have been affected, or other medical students that can help bring in more medical students, I just think the more people that we can bring to this to make a real powerful force together, it'll be really, it'll be great. We just started, we're just starting now, but we want this to snowball. So keep your eyes and ears open. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa.
I got one point to make. As I think as Michelle said, we're building a database, a unique database of ALS patients and their caregivers that does not exist anywhere, right? And for the younger students, we provide you a platform through which you can connect with them, right? These are digital tools. These type of tools are very native to you, which is not necessarily very comfort zone for the older researchers and older patients even. So I think you'll be able to make an impact in a way that's not been possible just because of the gap in the usage of these tools, et cetera. And once we create this database, as Indu said, then we can connect them with researchers in a way they've not had access to these patients and the data ever before, right? So there are two pieces to it. One piece is helping you connect with the patients, grow the patient database. And it doesn't mean you got to go knock on their door or anything even, right? You can do things digitally. And once we get that program going, we'll have a ready-made database of patients and researchers, and we'll help them think out of the box because they're all used to protocols. They think in terms of protocols. They compete with each other in many ways. So we're going to break a lot of these walls down once we have a a strong database of patients and their data on our side of the fence.
Thank you, Murgesh. And just to add, as you know, there is a lot of technology innovation that's going on. We have artificial intelligence, machine learning. If you saw on the news, there was a first antibiotic that was completely came out from artificial intelligence, and it took 12 months, which would have taken 7 years. So we see a lot of these innovation coming out, and I personally have talked to Recursion Pharma and few of these companies which use AI platform, and I said, what does it take for you to work on ALS? Because they have a fast moving, fast discovery platform. So instead of taking 7-10 years for a drug, these, with using the machine learning and artificial intelligence, they can come out with few months, 12 months. And they said, patience. They said, if you have a good advocacy and you can actually give us the information that we're looking for, might be it's, our genetics or our microbiome or certain blood. I mean, but if we can form this as a patient, I really think we can tap into a lot of the resources, a lot of the innovation that's happening today. So we don't have to be one of those diseases that sit back and say, oh, let people do something for us and then we'll jump on. No, we can actually drive this. So our goal is to drive innovation here. Our goal is to, take that gap that we see and actually get it closer. Close the gap, because there is drug for SMA. SMA is very similar to ALS, but it's for children, and it's rarer than ALS, but they have 3 treatments today. There's treatment for Batten disease, which is very, very hard to find as well. So some of these Castleman disease, I mean, some of them are very rare, very, very hard to find, but they're getting treatments today. And why is ALS not in the same space? Why aren't we getting treatments the same way? So we want to ask those questions, be part of the rare community, and get those treatments and bridge the gap. So that's kind of what we're doing here. And I think all this is everybody's platform. It's not our platform, it's not your platform, it's our platform. So we want everybody to participate, tell us what we can do to help your day-to-day right now, so we can actually bring all of these research to work with our patients directly.
Hey,
yeah.
McFinn, excuse me. The research side of this is so important and so helpful here. I'm so glad to hear that we're offering so much in this area, and there's so much for us all to learn. But the one area that I seem to really struggle with as a person with ALS is the emotional side of this disease. The emotional side seems to be one that it's really not the picture of ALS. The physical side seems to be the picture of ALS. But the emotional side is one that is so very difficult. So, I mean, for me personally, while we're all searching for all these other avenues of help through research, through different drugs, through different treatments, for me, I'm really looking for something that helps us on the emotional side, whether it's spiritual, which McFinn talked about earlier, whether it's faith, whether it's meditation, whatever these things are. Because when I do look at the results of the double-blind studies that are out there and all the phase treatments, you look at the success rates of the people that have the drug, but then you also see the success rate on the people that have the placebo. And to me, those people, they've done that just with their mind. And it seemed to be the common denominator at the conference out of all the reversals. Everyone did it a little bit differently with a different course, but the common denominator seemed to be their own personal belief. That's one, as a pal, that I personally struggle with, and I'm sure a lot of my pals struggle with, that is so hard to figure out how to keep that inner strength and that inner desire to beat this disease. And there's tools to do that with. I'm not sure what all those tools are. I'm just starting to learn them. And when I fill out the survey, that's obviously going to be the headline for one of my topics is, how do we address the emotional side of this disease to stay on the positive end of things? Because I know there's a way to beat it with your mind. It's how do we tap into that, and how do we do that? And I don't know what research is out there with that. I don't know where we go, but I know there's a place there. So for me, that would be my biggest point.
Very well said.
Thank you, Tony.
And things like this and connecting with people, I think, help keep that positive attitude and the hope. So connecting with people, whether it's friends, our group, and staying engaged. And I know it's hard when people feel isolated, but luckily we have things like Zoom and FaceTime that people can at least see somebody's face and have a conversation that way, or even if it's one way, because I know it's difficult for some to talk, but this is a great example of people connecting together. So I think
Lisa, well said. And also, a couple of things I would like to add is, having gone through this personally as a caregiver, it is hard. I mean, it has a lot of impact as a caregiver. And I have to say, once we all came together as a group, Lisa, and I want to call out to Sarah Diaz as well. She's a big part of this group, but she's not here today. She was a RN nurse, lost her dad. He was 53, and she actually has now gone back to school to study neurology. She's at Washington University. She is actually taking care of corona patients, so she's not here today, but she's also a big part of our organization, and meeting with Kim, Michelle, and we all get together every Friday. I have to say, I can't miss a Friday meeting, because it's not about just organizing this. This is my community. This is where I find my spiritual, people. I find my people. I feel I'm not isolated. Otherwise, nobody understands the same level of depth and things that we went through. So I would say, I think this group, I hope that's the platform we want to give, is the emotional health. That's one, is through this group. And the second I wanted to also mention is we are coming up with, we talk about this. McFinn has got some ideas, what we want to do, the breathing or the spiritual, and Kim here is working on a book actually to bring that spirituality for cancer patients. And we want to see how we can bring it to ALS patients. And, we have a lot of people that we can tap into for that emotional health, emotional guidance, and also some of the skills. And we know that we're going to try different things, and it works for some people and some people it won't, but our goal is to bring all those resources here for everybody. And we want you to openly talk about it, and we will work very hard on your behalf to deliver that.
For the students that are here and haven't had the exposure, one of the things that Derek said, when you said, Derek, think outside the box, and McFinn has talked about this, for those of you that have ALS, one of the things that was shocking for me at the Healing ALS conference is hearing the not intentional disregard from the neurologist, but the lack of hope that was provided to patients from the time they were diagnosed, instead of helping them have resources. And I'm guessing, Tony, that goes a lot to what you're saying with when you can't even count on your doctor to help direct you in the way to get emotional support. So I know for me, hearing from the ALS patients about what they were told initially, we want to change that. We want to flip that paradigm, right? We want to make neurologists understand how much they play a role in the view that their patients take. And it was interesting to me that Dr. Bedlack at Duke said, when he talked to other neurologists around the country, they would say, oh yeah, I've had a reversal, but he never came back in. And that was never talked about. Nobody ever studied it. Nobody ever shared that information. And we hope to be able to put on another conference sometime, hopefully later this year, COVID permitting. But what I loved at that Healing ALS conference was Derek, McFinn, you guys gave so much hope to not just people with ALS, but for all of us, to hear your stories, to hear how you said, oh, heck no, I'm not going to listen to what you said. I'm going to go find answers. I'm going to go figure this out. And you guys, you gave the whole entire conference room. You buoyed everybody's spirits. You gave everybody the belief that we can impact this. And so the students, take that back to your labs, take that back to the med schools, take that back, because the patients need to believe there's something you can do, and you're going to think outside the box to help them get there.
Well said, Michelle.
I think
Ditto.
Seth said, it's a great point to make, and I would love to know more about, no, that was not, that's Lily. It's about this whole pandemic that's going on and the isolation. This virus is impacting those, and not the disease, but the difficulty of living with it. It isolates its own, and the pandemic amplifies the isolation. So the goal is, how do we actually, help during this time, especially?
We help by coming to a Zoom conference with our good friends and seeing a bunch of smiling faces with people who have hope, because hope is what is going to move us on, because there is an answer. We just haven't come up with the complete answer yet, but we're definitely on our way.
Yeah. And Mark said he's a professional counselor and will be able to lead us an area for emotional factor as well.
Beautiful. Well, folks, deep down in your heart, is there anything left down in there that you'd like to express to us today? Anybody? Y'all got great smiles.
and I'm so glad
I
that
just wanted to say you're doing a great job moderating.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's my family. So you know what, I get a little nervous sometimes, but not around you guys, because I've already had to, hand people my urinal and say, hey, can you go dump my urinal for me? And you just come to that place in life where you break down all of the barriers, and we're all just human, and we're all just trying to make it through. And that's, I think ALS is an equalizer. All of us who have experienced it have a feeling about what each other is going through. And so we're all brothers and sisters in this. And I don't think anybody else is going to really understand us. So we got to band together and understand each other and support each other. So we've started.
Eric, will you guys just share, like, for the people on the call who don't know you, because they know that you had ALS and they know that you're long-term survivors and that you've reversed, but they don't understand the significance of that. Will you share a 30-second version of where you were versus where you are now today?
Well, it's very easy. I can't lift my arms anymore. I can't move my legs anymore. You have ALS, sorry, there's nothing that we can do for you. You have 1.5 years to live, and we're sorry. So after I heard that, I said to my wife, I said, sweetheart, there's no help out here. And I'm feeling so depressed about this. I'm sorry, sweetie, but I have to look into assisted suicide because this is just getting worse and worse. So I want to say to you folks, there's always an out.
McFinn, we lost you.
Hold, yes. Oh, okay. Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, so I just want to say that it's a tragic experience, but it's one that'll make you really close to your inner being. I never got so close to myself as when I was going to take my own life. And when you feel like you're going to take your own life, you better look in the mirror and see that you're just depressed and that there are solutions. Killing yourself is your prerogative, but you would miss a day, and a day could mean everything. So please, I didn't give up because my naturopath told me, don't give up. Let's investigate. Let's see. And my naturopath did not cure me. I'm not sure what cured me, but I know that my faith in me and my maker was so solid that I think I had an intervention. And so I can't say that everybody can have an intervention, but I did. I'm amazed by it. I'm still to this very day, can't believe that I can do this. And when people say, how are you doing, McFinn? I go, look, yeah, I'm doing really good. I can move my hand. So folks, inch by inch, together, we're going to go through this. I've been there and I'm ready to go wherever you got to go. And whatever you want to ask me, no matter how personal it gets, I'm here to give you an answer because I experienced it.
Thank you, McFinn. Derek, do you want to say a little bit? It's been over 20 years with you, and you know, how has your experiences been, and how do you emotionally, you know, one of the questions is how do you deal with, and what would be some of the advice you would give us to do for Everything ALS as well?
That's a tough question, Indu. I try not to think about it. Obviously, it does enter my mind once in a while, and I'm quite thankful. Oh, for me, I don't know if, I think what really helped me is I did start doing some alternative things a couple of years before I was diagnosed. And I will say the neurologist that diagnosed me in Toronto, I didn't find her to be a very pleasant person. And when I was told what I had, I really felt things were getting better at the time. So unlike McFinn, I had more of a screw you attitude. And I think that helped. I know I was scared, but I do believe that because I was determined to prove this expert wrong, I think it helped me. And I mean, it's been so long, and I'm sure I buried lots of emotions. I was on a roller coaster. I could be a jerk. I could lose it, but that's all leveled off. I like to believe so. And again, right from day one, my goal was to be normal or feel like whatever normal is. And so I really think that's my goal. You know, I can't escape ALS. I still have symptoms, but I try and think about it as little as possible. What's driving me crazy right now is I know the golf courses could be played on, but they're not letting us. And that's where I escape ALS. So I'm looking forward for whenever this is all over, what we're dealing with, to be able to get outside. And what really almost could have killed me is I got into mountain biking for a while. And I found that really meditative, just the focus I needed. And luckily I didn't kill myself, but it certainly helped, where you can escape what is bothering you, I guess. So I try not to let it bother me.
Thank you, Derek.
You know, one of the things that, McFinn, I was just going to say, one of the things that I loved at Healing ALS for the purposes of the students here is that there were 10 reversals there. Is that how many we had? 10 on the stage of
8,
the 45
yeah,
that have been confirmed at Duke's Med School. So a neurologist has looked at their medical records, confirmed they had ALS, and confirmed that they reversed, which most neurologists will tell you it's impossible. But what struck me from hearing Derek's story and McFinn's story and so many others is, of the 10 people that were on stage, not one of the 10 reversals was using pharmaceutical drugs. And so for those of you that are students, think about what food is our medicine and how we can support our body's neurological system by what we're feeding it, about our microbiome, all those omics, right? Whether it's genomics, whether it's your microbiome, there's so much we can do to support our body's own defense system. And the 10 people that were on stage, I don't know about anybody else, but you know, Kim, especially you, like you're an MD. For me, I was shocked that not one of the 10 was using any of the current drugs, but had used holistic methods, and everybody had used different ones. It wasn't as if it was one size fits all, but it was a powerful testimony to functional medicine paired up with traditional medicine, some people using Eastern medicine. So keep that in mind as well. For those of you that are either helping ALS patients, keep in mind the alternatives that can help them support their bodies.
Yeah, very well said. And those are some of the, research we want to bring into Everything ALS as well, is some of those research, and we want to collaborate directly with them. And
Hi, Indu.
Yes.
I think Kavita can add into this. I think Kavita's husband is going through the Ayurvedic medicine.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of maybe she can fill you on that.
Yeah.
Just wanted to add to that.
Kavita? Do you want to say anything? You're on mute. I think you're on mute. Michelle, can you unmute her? You're on mute too, Michelle.
Let me try, but she has to unmute herself typically. Let me see if I can get
Yeah,
her
Kavita,
unmuted.
you need to, okay, now she is. Okay, now she is.
Yeah. First, when my husband was diagnosed like this, my doctor told, he just lifted his hands, "I'm very sorry. In my protocol, there is no medicine suggested, only it is on research side." But my spiritual guru, whom we follow from past 20 years, gave me a lot of hope. He is into Ayurvedic, and he has given us few Ayurvedic medicines, and emotionally we were lifted up, and some confidence and a good hope. And whenever we visited our spiritual guru, he gave us a lot of positive things. When the whole world, whenever I Google or wherever I ask for people, when there is no answer from anybody, I think the only place I got some hope, and really, I don't know what to tell, a good chance was my spiritual guru. He advised us, he lifted us, and the medicine what he gave also I was very happy, where my husband was showing lot of willpower, and yes, I had only that option.
And we can talk to you offline to share some of the Ayurvedic stuff that you're using and what has been the effect. So
yes,
the
yes,
goal
yes.
of this is to share all this information with each other as to
Yes.
what's worked. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shobha.
Okay, folks, somebody else, you have a little opportunity now.
I think June asked if he can do anything. June, you said, do you want to do any local programs? I think you're on mute. You sent a text out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just kind of freeballing what local charity events or like any fundraisers, because our town usually has a couple of those that I live in a really small town, so like once something gets like really local, like I don't know, there's a lot of I feel like it could work like just local fundraising, or just locally just advocating, like just making like geographically like separate like chapters, so you could partner up with or the med school nearby, or like something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just kind of thinking.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We want all of that, so we can talk more about how do we set up that infrastructure as well. And we're thinking, if we can have more students all over, if they can actually visit the ALS patients and caregivers and be more engaged, that's something that we think would be very beneficial as a community when we can all work together.
That's right. It's our
Yep.
new team.
It's our new team. We're about more than 40 people today.
Yeah, this is lovely, folks. Thank you all for your time, your heart, the care that you have inside of you that you want to share. This is what this group is all about. If you want to meet a kind, interesting person, just keep coming to this group. And look in the mirror too, because each person here is giving their heart and soul. So thank you very much.
I was just going to say a quick thank you to the students who reached out to me that are interested in doing this. I'll send a recap of the meeting, and we can kind of go from there and see how we want to engage the patients and be able to help them in the best way possible. Also, I'm totally open to, if you guys have ideas, like, please let me know, because this is a great chance for all of us to get together and really expand our minds.
Yeah, and anybody with patients, caregivers on the line, like, we're here. We've got a big group, students, us, any research, anybody we need to get to, any help, there's nothing off limits here. So please use us as a platform. Yes, Deb?
Yeah, hold on. I just wanted to say something to the students. This is kind of a side project I'm working on that's involved in the group. So I don't know, perhaps you have other friends who might be in marketing or computers who could help me. I'm trying to compile a complete database of all the nonprofits that deal with ALS. There are many, many small nonprofits who work, in a certain geographic location. Some work all over the United States, but we don't really have a complete list. So I'm looking for students who can help me research that, gather all the nonprofits in each state and then compile one list so we can hopefully work together better and offer services, funds for people who have ALS, because it's such an expensive disease, and we can better serve people. So if some of the students, that might be a little bit out of your wheelhouse, because I know you're more interested in the research and the medical aspect, but perhaps if you have friends on the, in other majors that would be interested in that project with me.
Yeah, thank you, Deb.
How can they get a hold of you, Deb?
Are we going to have any, do we have
Yeah,
our?
I think Tori will arrange that. Tori can
Okay, great.
connect with everybody. And I think we'll probably create a Slack channel for all of us to communicate.
Perfect.
And just wanted to, also mention that we don't want to create yet another group here, right? I mean, there are a lot of ALS community. So our goal is to bring all the resources that's available so we can actually move the needle together. So if we do everything in a small way, I don't think we can move the needle. Our goal is, how do we set up a force here so we can really move the needle and get some treatments now, so we're not waiting for that to happen in some time in the future.
We all agree.
And Tori, we might want to set up just a meeting with some of the people to talk about what we found from the biological side of this, the Ayurvedic side of this, so that you guys going back into your biology classes will understand the import of autophagy and mitophagy and how the unfolded protein response, like all of these things that you're going to be studying will bring a whole lot more significance, because you'll see how it's impacted these patients here. So maybe we can set up a meeting with you guys to kind of go over some of the science that all of us have stumbled upon.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Also, Indu, do you have a time frame? I know some of the patients are on here of, I guess, like, when we'd be able to have our students be paired, like, with a patient.
I think we can talk to McFinn, and probably next week we can actually arrange for, some of the patient engagement with the student engagements.
Do you know what state that you're talking about for engagement, Tori? I mean,
I mean, in terms of, like, for the students to be able to reach out to the patients and help them with the voice collection, like, database.
Yeah, that's the voice project we're talking about now.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll talk about it offline, Tori. I think there is some timing in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I think that project will get kicked off, so
Okay,
we can
sounds
talk
good.
about that. Yeah.
There's
This is
another angle that
Yeah.
we've been talking about is to find
Yeah.
local resources who can help ALS patients, right? We can start with 1 or 2 cities, finding therapists or massage therapists or
correct.
yoga instructors or people who've had experiences helping ALS patients, making them be part of a directory that can be easily sourced and connected to patients. So maybe getting a few students together to brainstorm, maybe in LA, they're all in USC, right? Getting 3 or 4 students.
Right.
Just start with 1 city and get that going, and then we can roll it across all the other cities.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you guys all in LA now, or are you back home? That's the other thing. You might have contacts back in your own communities. I don't know if you're still there in LA.
I think the majority of us are back in our homes right now, at least in my case.
Yeah, I know someone lives in Hawaii. It looks like majority of people are dispersed across California. I know there's someone in Hawaii. But yeah, I can look at it closer. Also, I know some of the students have reached out to me that they have labs that are starting like now. So is it okay if I like excuse them? I feel bad.
Yes, yes, yes. And John Burke wrote that he is actually pursuing business major, so he can help with some of the marketing business research. And I've got some students in UPenn as well who have actually extended their help.
Okay.
Perfect.
We'll stop the recording when this is over as well, you guys. So if you have a question you want to ask that you don't want to be on the recording, McFinn has said, listen, that's the most important thing, is that people can trust the confidentiality of what's going on here. So once we finished with the official meeting, we will stop the recording, but we'll leave the Zoom open for you if you have any questions you want to address to McFinn and anybody else on the call, so you can keep your privacy.
Perfect. So folks.
Okay.
Anything else in there? Somebody? All right. It seems like we've had an excellent meeting for our first meeting. How much more could we ask for? Thank you, everybody, for your attendance, for your heartfelt replies. And so there will be a survey sent out to each person. And what we're looking for is an answer to, would you like to have this each week, or would you like to have it every other week? And we'd like to have you put in 3 subjects that you would be interested in having everybody talk about and research. So we can close the official meeting, and then we have a half an hour of, if anybody wants to stick around and talk about anything personal, non-personal, whatever you'd like to share.